A support team handling customer requests needs more than a ticketing system to stay effective. They need a CRM that tracks every customer interaction and links tickets to accounts, a workflow automation layer that routes tickets and triggers actions based on changing conditions without hard-coded logic, an AI layer that drafts responses and summarizes long ticket histories, a data grid for the support manager to analyze ticket volume and resolution times across large customer lists, and a component library that produces a clean and usable interface without design overhead. Without these pieces connected, the team works across disconnected tools, CRM in one tab, email in another, a spreadsheet for reporting, and manual copy-paste between them. With a support agent platform built from these 5 repositories, an incoming ticket flows from creation through routing, AI-drafted response, manager review, and reporting in a single connected system. 20 provides the CRM layer. It is an open-source customer relationship management platform with a flexible data model, an API, and a React-based interface. The support platform stores customer accounts, contact records, and ticket histories in 20. The CRM's timeline view shows the full history of every customer's interactions in one place, and the API allows the workflow and AI layers to read and update records without requiring the support agent to switch applications. Pi Dynamic Workflows provides the automation layer. It is a workflow engine that evaluates conditions dynamically and triggers actions based on ticket state, customer attributes, and team schedules. When a ticket is created, Pi Dynamic Workflows evaluates routing rules, ticket category, customer tier, time of day, and current agent workload, and assigns the ticket to the appropriate agent or queue automatically. As the ticket progresses, the engine re-evaluates conditions and triggers escalation actions when SLA thresholds are approached. Langchain provides the AI response drafting layer. When an agent opens a ticket, langchain retrieves the ticket history from 20, the customer's interaction timeline, and any relevant knowledge base articles, then generates a draft response tailored to the specific issue. The agent reviews the draft, edits as needed, and sends it without starting from a blank text field for every response. Gridex provides the data grid layer. The support manager uses gridex to view and filter large ticket datasets, open tickets by agent, resolution times by category, escalation rates by customer tier, with sorting and export functionality that a standard table component cannot handle at scale. daisyui provides the UI component layer. It is a Tailwind CSS component library that the support platform uses for all interface elements, ticket forms, status badges, agent assignment dropdowns, and notification toasts. Following a single support ticket from submission to resolution shows the data flow through all 5 repositories and explains what each component does at each stage. The flow starts the moment a customer submits a ticket through the support platform's intake form. The ticket creation form, built with daisyui components, submits the ticket data to the backend. The backend creates a new record in 20 via its API. The ticket is linked to the customer's existing account record and appears in the CRM timeline immediately. 20 returns the ticket identifier, which the backend passes to Pi Dynamic Workflows as the trigger event. Pi Dynamic Workflows evaluates the routing rules against the new ticket's attributes, the reported category, the customer's account tier, the current time relative to support hours, and the number of open tickets assigned to each agent. The interfaces between Pi Dynamic Workflows and the 20 CRM are the ticket record the engine reads to evaluate conditions, and the assignment field it updates when routing is complete. The engine selects the appropriate agent, writes the assignment back to 20's API, and sends the agent a notification through the configured channel. The assigned agent opens the ticket in the support platform dashboard. Langchain receives the ticket context, the original message, the customer's 20 timeline showing previous interactions, and relevant knowledge base entries, and generates a draft response. The langchain chain calls the 20 API to fetch the timeline and uses a retrieval chain to surface matching knowledge base entries before generating the draft. The draft appears in the response editor, which is a daisyui text area with the agent's name and ticket reference pre-filled. The agent edits the draft and submits the response. The response is written back to 20 as a timeline entry and delivered to the customer. Dynamic Workflows monitors the ticket state and re-evaluates escalation conditions every few minutes. If the ticket remains open past the SLA threshold, the engine updates the 20 record with an escalation flag and triggers a manager notification. The support manager opens the gridex table for the current week's tickets. The grid reads ticket data from 20's API, applies sorting and filter rules, and displays resolution time distributions and escalation counts. The manager exports the filtered view as a CSV for the weekly report. The build order starts with 20. Since the CRM is the data source, every other component reads from and writes to. Deploy 20 using its Docker Compose configuration and create the initial data schema, customer accounts, contacts, and ticket records with the fields the routing and AI layers will query. Populate 10 test customer accounts and 20 test tickets covering each ticket category the team handles. Verify that the 20 API returns the correct timeline entries for each customer, and that a filter query by ticket status returns the expected records. This data model test prevents schema mismatches from appearing after Dynamic Workflows and langchain are connected. Configure Dynamic Workflows next. Define routing rules for the 5 ticket categories the team handles, including the agent assignment logic and the SLA thresholds for each tier. Test each rule by creating a ticket through the 20 API with the corresponding attributes and confirming the workflow engine assigns it to the correct agent within the expected time. Test the escalation rule by creating a ticket and advancing its timestamp past the SLA threshold in the test environment to confirm the engine fires the escalation action. Set up langchain. Configure the retrieval chain with the knowledge base content. Export existing support documentation as the source corpus and test the draft generation against 5 representative ticket types. Evaluate each draft for accuracy and tone before the chain is connected to the live ticket view. The interfaces between langchain and the rest of the platform are the 20 API for fetching ticket context and the response editor field the chain writes its draft output to. Security in this stack requires that customer data retrieved from 20 be scoped to the authenticated agent's assigned tickets. Agents must not be able to retrieve ticket context for customers not assigned to them through the langchain chain. The 20 API token used by the workflow engine and the AI layer must be loaded from environment variables. Failure handling in the langchain draft generation applies a retry when the LLM API returns a timeout. After 2 retries, the draft editor displays a fallback prompt indicating the draft is unavailable, and the agent should write their response manually. The ticket is not blocked from resolution. Deploy daisyui components as part of the front-end build alongside gridex for the manager reporting view. The production deployment is complete when a test ticket flows from creation through routing, draft generation, and SLA monitoring without manual configuration between steps. The documented configuration of each repository defines the platform's support coverage and operational constraints. 20 is MIT licensed. Its documentation covers the Docker Compose deployment configuration, the metadata API for defining custom object types and fields, the REST API for creating and querying records, the timeline event format for logging interactions, and the webhook configuration for triggering external actions when record fields change. The project notes that the data model is fully customizable through the metadata API, and that the self-hosted version has no record count limits. Dynamic Workflows is MIT licensed. Its documentation covers the workflow definition format for specifying triggers, conditions, and action steps, the variable binding syntax for accessing record fields and conditions, the action types for writing to external APIs and sending notifications, and the schedule configuration for time-based re-evaluation. The project notes that workflows evaluate in real time when triggered by a webhook and on a polling schedule for time-based conditions. Langchain is MIT licensed. Its documentation covers the retrieval augmented generation chain configuration, the document loader options for ingesting knowledge base content, the vector store integration for similarity search, the prompt template format, and the streaming output API for displaying draft responses progressively as they are generated. gridex is MIT licensed. Its documentation covers the column definition format, the server-side data source configuration for loading large datasets, the sorting and filtering API, the cell renderer customization, and the CSV export function. daisyui is MIT licensed. Its documentation covers the component class names for each UI element, the theme configuration using Tailwind's CSS variable system, and the dark mode toggle. The project installs as a Tailwind CSS plugin with no build step of its own. The fastest path to a working support agent platform is deploying 20, creating 5 test tickets, and verifying that the 20 API returns the correct timeline for each. With a working CRM, the Pi dynamic workflows routing rules have real ticket records to evaluate against. Which ticket category in your support queue would benefit most from automatic routing today?